top crest of pelvis and the lowest ribs, lengthening the ribs away from the top of the hips, and letting that area of solar plexus, diaphragm shine open. And just whatever available connection you have to this physical space, even if it's blank, just giving yourself time and grace. And allowing yourself to feel for your strength. And then just like two wings of a bird holding strength, and then dropping another pebble into the pond, connecting to the whole continuum of pleasure. And accessing wherever you can here. So it might be a very simple, pleasant quality of having time with yourself, and for many of us, with people that we know and care about in practice. And sensing how pleasure allows us to uptake nutrients, literally food nutrients, and also other kinds of energetic nutrients, and awareness of what is basically pleasant and good in the moment. And when we can uptake those nutrients, we can get stronger. And when we allow ourselves to feel our strength, we may have more connection to pleasure. So just using this embodied inquiry today to see where we go together. And then we're going to begin to shift the breath from moving down, and then begin to sweep the breath into the back bottom ribs. So if you're seated, maybe you place your hands there. If you're laying on the ground, using the ground. And just getting very curious about the back bottom ribs, which parts may be moving, which parts may be a little sticky. As you exhale, drawing the front ribs towards the back ribs and knitting front ribs down, which is a strengthening move. It's a core stabilizer. And then the next direction we'll work with is side bodies. So you could use your hands or your awareness onto the side ribs and begin to wash the breath into the back, and then begin to sweep the breath into the side ribs. Letting the front ribs knit in and down. And so what we're going for when we do this is to find a neutral position of the ribs over the hips, which is a strength move. It's a stabilization move. And then from here, we're going to shift right into tabletop to keep exploring this low rib area. So you can come to a tabletop. And then really come into pressing the ground away. So you get this ground force action that gives you some information about your tissues. Really rooting into the base of the thumb and the index finger, moving the shoulders away from the ears, and then lengthen back. Particularly feel for lengthening your big toe. And then what we want to get is the back of the head aligned to the sacrum. So your best felt sense, it's a sort of a lifting of the back of the head towards the ceiling, I think. And then from here, begin to get a sense of your neck. So we're gonna head into some core stabilization work that works the neck here. Just taking some gentle movements to see where is my neck in space. How does it connect to the core? So when we think about core, we're talking about this whole column from crown to pelvic floor and base of spine. So the move we're gonna work with here is inhale, broaden those back ribs and side ribs. And then on exhale, curl toes under, sit bones back. Take the left ear to the left shoulder. Inhale, coming back to shoulders over wrist. Exhale, sit the sit bones towards the heels. Take the right ear to the right shoulder. Press the ground away with your arm strength. Inhale, come forward. Exhale, sit bones move towards heels. Front ribs knit in, ear towards shoulder. Keep going at your own pace. Sensing perhaps the stabilization move of knitting the ribs in and down, perhaps a pleasant quality to getting some movement into the tissues of the neck, making it smaller if it feels like too much in the neck or anywhere else. Do a couple more at your own pace. And then from there, come back, take a pause in your tabletop, and then we're gonna come right onto the back and do some transverse abdominis activation, TVA for short. So you can come to feet flat, right underneath the knees. Again, finding that ground force action, kick into your heels like you're trying to dent the mat, and feel how that wakes up the tissues in the lower leg. And then from here, arms can be wherever you get the best contact of back ribs. Take a few moments here and inhale, broadening back and side ribs. Relaxing front ribs towards back ribs. And then we'll go into TVA activation. Inhale, back ribs, side ribs. Exhale, kick into the foot on the right. Left knee picks up directly over the hip. Slight internal rotation. Pull the low belly down. You can use your hands to belly to help you. Inhale, feet flat, broadening back ribs and side ribs. Exhale, kick into the left leg on the mat, knee over hip, slight internal rotation. So you could judge that by outer edge of the foot parallel to the mat. Low belly pulls in. And then keep going at your own pace, broadening back ribs and side ribs. And perhaps there may be a pleasant quality to doing this core work that's also very nourishing, meant to be very nourishing. And keep going at your own pace. Spread through the toes. Feel what's happening in the foot that's kicking into the ground as well as the leg that's lifting. And then pause, relaxing, taking a feeling breath. And then from here, we'll come into some glute activation here. So we'll use the fingertip to that hamstring insertion, low glute. You can use your awareness if that's a better tool for you. So we'll dial it down a slight amount. Inhale, broadening back ribs and side ribs, and then exhale. Pick the right foot up. Find the fingertip to the hamstring insertion. Contract the sit bone area, low glute hamstring insertion, and then place the foot down. Inhale, broadening back and side ribs. Exhale, pick the left foot up using the fingertips. Contract, low belly pulls in. And then again, keep going at your own pace using fingertip activation to sit bone. Feeling for this conversation with this essential posterior chain that can help stay in the body, help us stay in the body. And then from there, take a pause, finish the round that you're on. Continue to find the front ribs softening in and down any amount. And then from here, let's work on some dipping frogs. So if your back is feeling sensitive, you can work this You can keep doing TBA activation. Otherwise, pick both feet up, knees overhead, slight internal rotation. Get the outer edges of your feet parallel. Relax the upper body down. Inhale, broadening back ribs, knit the front ribs towards the back ribs. Exhale, tap the heels down and come right back up. Low belly pulls in. If you have a prop, you could use that to the inner legs to squeeze. Inhale, broadening back and side ribs. Exhale, tap the heels down and come right back up. Low belly pulls in. Inhale, broaden. Exhale, tap heels down, engage low abs, come on up. Do 3 more at your own pace. And then when that's complete, take a moment, take a feeling breath. And let's bring it to the upper torso. We'll do some bird wing on the back. So bringing the upper arms next to the rib cage, a little bit off the ground, and then spread the palms like so. Inhale, broadening back and side ribs, and then on exhale, forearms come away from each other, elbows tweeze in, shoulders and shoulder blades move towards the feet. Inhale to stage 1. Exhale, forearms move out, tweeze shoulders in, shoulders and shoulder blades down. Notice if you jut the front ribs out, draw them in and down. Inhale to stage 1. Exhale, forearms move out, elbows tweeze in, shoulders down, shoulder blades move down. Doing one more, inhale. Exhale, arms glide out into bird wing, squeeze shoulders in, shoulders down. And then let the arms relax. And we'll do one more thing here with the upper body is our arm glides. So option to use props if you want to add in some proprioceptive tools or also some strength base if you use heavier props. So same thing, broaden back ribs and side ribs. Lift the arms out and up across the floor. Low belly pulls in. Inhale, arms come by torso. Exhale, arms glide out and up. Press into the feet. Low belly pulls in. Doing 3 more at your own pace, sensing the relationship between optimal alignment of the ribs and what happens in the shoulders. Sometimes we jut our ribs out to avoid feeling tightness in the shoulders. And then release your props. If you have them, let the arms relax. Take a moment here. And we'll do some elbow to tree. So we'll sort of jump up a bit into the strength sensation. And it's fine to keep one foot on the floor here. Shoulders down, elbow tips reach up. Pick both feet up, knees over hips. And then pick the head and chest up. Relax the head into your hands. Inhale, broadening back ribs. Curl the tailbone up so the knees reach straight up to the ceiling. And then on exhale, both elbows reach to the right thigh. Straighten through the left leg, move the thigh bone away from the hip, and then the low abs engage. Stage 2, tree pose. Foot can go above or below the knee. Press foot into leg, leg into foot. Curl up a second time. Keep reaching to the right. Pull the low abs in. Inhale, bend both knees. Curl tailbone. Knees reach straight up. And then on exhale, both elbows reach left. Straighten through the right leg, moving the thigh bone like a kick. Low belly pulls in. Stage 2, foot can go above or below the knee. Curl up a second time. Pull the low belly down. If you can, get off the left shoulder. Inhale, bend both knees. Curl tailbone. Knees reach straight up to the ceiling. Exhale, elbows reach right. Straighten through the left leg. Low belly pulls in. Stage 2, foot to inner leg. Curl up a second time. Low belly pulls in. Inhale, bend both knees. Curl up, tailbone, exhale, elbows reach left, straighten through the right leg, low belly pulls in, stage 2, foot to inner leg, curl up a second time, pull the low belly down. And then resting the head and chest down, coming into either feet together, knees wide, or knees together, feet wide. Relaxing abdominals, noticing the nutrients from the strength work, seeing if there's any pleasant quality that you can track of the warmth of the energy from the abdominals or any kind of releasing. And then we'll come into bridge pose. So Feet underneath the knees, outer edges of the feet parallel. If you like, you can walk the feet a little bit forward if you have tightness in the hips and hip flexors. And then relaxing the arms wherever you get the most purchase on softening the chest muscles and the rib cage muscles. Inhale, broadening back inside ribs. Exhale, press the ground away. Send the thigh bones forward. Kicking into the heel, so you're lighting up the back body. Setting your gaze to just one thing in your bridge so you can really get a sense of getting your Setu Bandhasana nutrients, your bridge pose nutrients. Relaxing internally first. And this is an awesome pose to keep becoming more aware of this area where our physical focus of the practice, the area between top crest of hips and lowest ribs. And taking 2 more breaths here in your bridge. And then when you're ready, we'll do a round of Uddiyana. So relaxing internally, broadening the rib cage, fill all the way up. And then exhale everything out as smoothly as possible. Keep the breath out, belly back, lower down. Completely relax the belly and inhale. See if you can find any amount more to let that area shine open. Let yourself connect from the solar plexus outward. And then from there, keeping neck relaxed, roll onto one side. Let's come up to tabletop. So you can have books or blocks or any objects that might be useful. Shoulders over wrists again, pressing into the ground, lengthening through the tops of the feet. And then from here, we'll come into dolphin pose. Elbows come down, wrap around the middle part of upper arms. Option 1, clasp the hands and make a tripod. Option 2, plant the forearms down, root the base of thumb and index finger. Feel for a spaciousness in the joints here by reaching through all of the fingers, shoulders away from the ears. Softening chest muscles and then lift the part of the spine between shoulder blades. When you're ready, curl toes under. And in increments, begin to hug front ribs towards back ribs. You can keep the knees bent as long as you like, even the whole pose. So you're prioritizing feeling, where is my torso in space? Taking any other variations of dolphin that you like, lifting a leg, placing both knees down. Either way, relax the neck, keep breathing, and then gently place knees down, coming into embryo. So child's pose with arms next to torso, maybe placing a prop under your head or something behind your knees. When you're ready, coming back to tabletop, and we'll take this into downward facing dog. So hands come forward about a hand's width distance. Spin the eye of the elbow and the bicep forward. Keep the inner hands rooted, shoulders away from the ears. And then again, going slowly. Front ribs draw towards back ribs. Take any variation here that feels useful. Pedaling it out, opening the hip. Keep breathing. When you're ready, walk the feet to the hands so you can come into Uttanasana, forward fold. Maybe you grab your props here. Let the weight of your head stretch your neck. Looking towards the navel. And then from here, take the L shape of your index finger and thumb. Press into the head of the thigh bone, engage low abs, and come on up to stand. And we'll come into another round of Uddiyana with back traction here. So feet at hips width distance, outer edges of the feet parallel. As much as you can, keep the knees over the ankles. They might peek out a little bit, but just take them back. Bearing down into the head of the thigh bones. Shoulders might hike up, no problem. Relaxing internally first, taking a very soft, full breath in. Exhale everything out. Keep the breath out, pull the belly back and up. When you're ready to breathe, relax the abs, inhale, straighten legs, fold. If you'd like, we're gonna do that one more time. If one Uddiyana is, or we've already done one, if 2 Uddiyana is enough for you, you can just come through the physical gesture, not the breath practice. So coming back, knees back, like you're gonna sit into a chair, bring the hands to the head of the thigh bone, sensing the relationship between hip and low back. Relaxing internally, fill all the way up. Exhale everything out. Belly back and up. Relaxing internally, breathing in as smoothly as possible, straightening the legs and folding. Let the head hang. And then from here, please bend into the right knee and then press either into the floor if that's available, or I'm going to use a block, but you can use anything. Keep the pressing away with the right hand, the bend in the right knee, and then pull, pull, pull with the left. So you're simultaneously pressing and pulling and then reaching up, sensing the front of the left shoulder and the chest. And then from there, straighten the right leg, forward bend. Bending into the left knee, press the ground or an object away as you're pulling, pulling, pulling with the right. Reach the arm up. Sensing, can you get a movement of the shoulder blade here? Right shoulder blade towards the ceiling, any amount. Lower the arm down, straighten the leg, forward fold. Bend into the right knee, press the left hand away, pull, sensing those 2 developmental movements. Reach up, spread through all the bones in the wrist, move the left shoulder blade to the ceiling, straightening the right leg, fold, and then opposite side, last time, press away with the left hand, bend the left knee, pull, reach up, and then lengthen the ribs away from the top crest of the pelvis here, back of the head towards the upper left-hand corner of the mat, straighten the leg and fold. From here, please come into Ardha Uttanasana, halfway lift, so hands could be toes, shins, or anywhere else that gives you the most purchase of lengthening your ribs away from your hips. Exhale, step back into your plank. So you can do a modified chaturanga here or a full plank. If your knees are down, I'll demo that. Legs in line with torso. Press the feet into the ground. Curl pubic bone. Press the ground away with the hands, shoulders down. Crown of the head reaching forward. Lowering down with control. And we'll do a Shalabhasana variation here, a boat variation. Bring the arms, really press the ground away here. Lengthen back through the legs. Internally rotate the thighs. Curl pubic bone. And then lift the left leg, reach the right arm forward. Right thumb to the ceiling. And then we'll switch. Reach back with the right leg. Lift the leg about 4 inches off the ground, a couple inches. Left arm forward, thumb to the ceiling, press into the right hand. And then switch, left leg lifts, right arm forward, thumb to the ceiling. Curl pubic bone, engage low abs. And then from there, bringing the left arm forward, press into the right hand. And then release, take a moment. And then hands under shoulders, shoulder blades down the back, pressing through your tabletop. And then into your downward facing dog. Letting your gaze settle to one thing. And then from here, let's come into warrior one, back toes curled under, left leg steps forward. Come onto the ball of the right foot. And then come on up, finding those frontal hip points, making them even with the back hip points as best you can. I notice that I get right into my quads when I find some degree of evenness in the pelvis. And then sense, can you feel for the space between top crescent pelvis and low ribs? Low ribs soften down, lift up through the core. And then from there, let's interlace hands behind the head. Press the back of the head into the hands. Relax skull bones. And then pull elbows wide. And then let that go. Elbow tips wrap forward. Feel for it lifting low ribs. Lifting the back skull bones away from the top of the spine. Settling your gaze to one thing. Torso comes up. Hands come through the midline. Press the hands together to feel the feedback you get in possibly the lats coming forward. Reset to a straight right leg and then kick like there was a wall behind you. If you have a wall, it's a great prop to use. Kick. Getting that ground force action through that back leg. Bring your arms into wings, shoulders and shoulder blades down, and then give the front thigh a hug. If the left hip is winging out, see if you can tuck it back down. And then from there, kick the ground away, curl pubic bone towards navel, and then attempt to peel torso off of the thigh, and the grip is keeping you there. And then letting that go, straighten the front leg and fold over into a pyramid variation. Again, tracking left hip back, roll the right inner thigh to the wall behind you, spread your awareness to the viscous heat that you get from the strength moves and seeing if that gives you any access to softening to something pleasurable. And the last pose on this side, vertical splits. Hop your back foot in. Maybe you bring your props lower. As you let your head go, get the shoulders away from the ears. Wrapping shoulder blades, so you're moving the shoulder blades away from each other, knitting the front ribs towards the back ribs. Kick the ground away so much with the left leg that it causes the right leg to float up. And then from here, tap the right leg down, take it out to the side, tap it down, and then experiment here. Play with your range of motion, bending the knee, maybe opening the hip. And then lengthen that leg back. Take yourself through either plank or a modified chaturanga to calm down through a high quality transition. Press the ground away the whole time. And we'll do some neck work here, upper back and neck work. Lengthen back through the legs. Bring the left arm next to torso, plant the hand. Look to the left, bring the back of your right palm to your right cheek, and then come on up any amount. Press, hand into face, face into hand. Feel what happens. Shoulder girdle, neck, and then come on down. Press into both feet and the right hand. Look to the right. Bring the back of the left hand to the cheek. Press face into hand and hand into face. And then let that go. And we'll do that one more time because you're probably needing to watch it. Pressing left hand into the floor. Look to the right. Bring the back of the hand to the cheek. Lift the upper back. Pressing hand into face, face into hand, and then other side. Take the left back of the hand to the face, look to the right, right hand presses into the ground, and then come on down. Hands under shoulders, shoulder blades down the back, come through your tabletop, and in your down dog, focusing on front ribs knitting towards back ribs. So maybe you keep the knees bent, maybe you sit back towards the heels to play with that. And let's step the right leg forward, come into warrior one, back toes curled under. Feet at hips with distance. As you come into bending that knee, sensing, inhabiting the strength of the lower body. Playing with, can you get ASIS and PSIS even, front hip point and back hip point, and then bring yourself into the opposite interlace of what you did on the first side. Elbows wide, feel into the armpits. chest muscles. Press the back of your head into your hands to sense where is the sacrum and the occiput in space, evening them as best you can. And then let the elbows come wide. Pull on the elbows. The interlace of the fingers is keeping you there. Kick the ground away. Lift the pubic bone. Keep breathing. Knitting front ribs down. Softening belly towards spine on exhale. And then brain cradling. Elbow tips wrap forward. Lift the low ribs away from the top crest of pelvis. Lift the middle ribs. Lengthen the back of the head. And then as you come into this shape, send the elbow tips forward and up. Make space in the shoulders. Feeling your whole body in this shape with everyone doing this with you in this group. Keep breathing. And then come on up. Come forward, reset to a straight left leg using your real or imaginary wall to wake up that leg strength. You can use that self-assist. Do I have that hamstring insertion, low glute working? And again, if the right hip is winging out, tuck it back under. Find your wing, shoulders down, collarbones broad. Wrap around the thigh, squeeze. And then curl pubic bone towards navel. Attempt to bring the torso away from the leg, and the bind is waking up all kinds of things. Kick through the legs, and then release the bind, straighten the front leg, and fold. Lengthen your left big toe, or excuse me, your right big toe, root the base of the big toe. Roll the left inner thigh back. Move the shoulders away from the ears. And then from there, hop the back foot in. Maybe you lower your blocks. So using this as lower body work, but also to create warm releases where you need them in the upper body. Let the head go. Kicking into the ground with the right leg, so you're using that ground force action to lift the left leg. Tap the left foot down, bring the left leg out to the side, tap it down. And then finding some improvised movement, let the breath lead. Keep sensing what do those tissues need right now. And then from there, stepping the leg back, coming through your plank. We'll come through another boat variation. Lift each leg, move the thigh bone away from the hip as you reach back. And we'll do the version that is hands at tented fingertips at shoulder height. Inhale, lift chest. Exhale, looking towards the left elbow, maybe underneath the arm, coming back and forth at your own pace. Keeping the legs solid, keep the pinky toe, edge of the foot rooted. Changing this in any way that helps you unravel tension in the shoulders. And then when you're finished lowering down, come into your crocodile. So either stacking hands, placing forehead down, or bringing the hands flat. And then using this contact with the ground to study your felt sense of the area between low ribs and top crest of pelvis. When you're ready, bring hands under shoulders, shoulders away from ears, pressing back into downward facing dog. And then from here, using your core, step the right leg forward, coming into warrior two. So front heel to back arch alignment. If you have the range, you could pick up the back heel and spin it out, and that makes more room to tuck under with the leg. And then come into placing the hands somewhere on the torso to sense, am I moving the rib cage with my breath? Am I stacking the skull bones over the ribs? And let's do some bird wing here. So as if you're holding something wonderful in front of you. Inhale. Exhale, forearms stay pinned in. Elbows stay pinned in. Forearms move out, shoulders down. Come back to stage one. Inhale. Lift and broaden ribs. Exhale, elbows come out. elbows squeeze in, shoulders down, shoulder blades down. Feel the armpits, the chest muscles, the upper back. One more. Shoulders down, shoulder blades down. Come back to stage one, let the arms relax down, maybe give the arms a shake. Next pose is head to ankle prep. A block can be useful here. First, get a sense of front hip point and back hip point. Get them as even as you can. Hold on to the top crest of the pelvis, and then sense as you lift the ribs what's going on there. Come forward. The block can go underneath the left hand if you want to play with that. Take the right hand to the inner thigh, close up to ASIS, front hip point. Begin to press down and away on the inner thigh, and then move the torso to the left. So you'll feel the side ribs move towards the pelvis. You can knit the front ribs in to broaden the breath into the back body, particularly quadratus lumborum, the long muscle in the low back. And then look towards your navel, let the head go. And then from here, stay low. Walk both hands inside the right foot. Maybe you grab a block or several blocks and then shift onto the ball of the back foot. Kick through that leg, checking in. Am I using the sit bone muscles? Kick into the right leg and then hug the inner right knee to the outer right arm. Perhaps you could hug the feet towards each other, right? Like that move, check in with yourself, see if it feels okay in your joints. And then one last pose here, gently, for this sequence, gently place the knee down. If you're on a hard surface, get more padding. You can fold the mat in, hold on to the front of the shin, lounge, lunge. The left arm starts underneath the shoulder, keep a strong line of energy through that back leg, and then walk the left hand on a diagonal. Slide the left shoulder and ribs forward and towards the ground. So this is a good pose to play with. What is my feeling access into this area that we're working with? So psoas is in there, the hip flexor that connects into the thoracic spine. Lots of other core stabilizers. Relax the neck. And just placing your highest quality of attention here. Unravel your lounge lunge. Take yourself through plank or modified chaturanga. Come all the way down. Let's do some shoulder shrugs. Lengthen your legs back. Lift the legs, lift the shoulders, lift the chest. Hover the hands next to shoulders about 6 inches away, 6 inches off of the ground. Crown of the head reaches forward. Inhale, broaden the upper back. Exhale, squeeze shoulders, shoulder blades, elbow tips, reach through the legs. Inhale, broaden upper back. Exhale, squeeze shoulders, shoulder blades, elbow tips. Inhale, broaden upper back. Exhale, squeeze shoulders, shoulder blades, elbow tips, reach through the legs. And then give yourself a moment, crocodile. See where you can give yourself a moment to uptake the energy as you're generating it. Hands under shoulders, shoulder blades down, press back into downward facing dog. Really feeling into some playfulness in your down dog that helps you to get into something useful. And then from here, using your core, step the left leg forward, warrior two. And again, building this pose like a moving meditation, front heel to back arch. If it works, pick up the right heel and spin it out, kick through that leg. And then we can play with this thing we work with a lot is front hip points back and then use the glutes to root the tailbone down and even out the pelvis. Notice, am I sticking out my front ribs? Can I soften? Can I broaden into back and side ribs? And then we'll come into some bird wing, facing palms towards the ceiling. Inhale. Exhale, forearms move out, elbows tweeze in, shoulders down. Inhale to stage one. Stretch the hands so you feel that stretch across the palms. Shoulders down, elbows squeeze in. And then one more. Inhale, stage one. Exhale. Elbows squeeze in, shoulders down, collarbones wake up. Let the arms come down, take a moment. And then again, hold on to the pelvis. Sense the pelvis in space. Lift the ribs and then come forward. Maybe you use a block underneath your right hand. Place your left hand to the inner thigh, close up to the hip. Deep breath in, give your legs breath support, and then press down and away on the left inner thigh, moving the torso into lateral flexion here. So what it looks like upright is like this. Moving the low ribs towards the top crest of pelvis on the right. So it's an unusual pose. Knit the front ribs towards the back ribs. Kick into both heels like you're trying to dent the mat, wake up that heel point. And then from there, staying low, feel through this transition. Hopefully it's a therapeutic transition for the hips and low back. Walking the hands inside the left foot, shift onto the ball of the back foot, and then kick your real or imaginary wall behind you. Maybe use a self-assist, tracking the lowest fibers of the glutes, the highest fibers of the hamstrings. Hug the inner left leg to the outer left arm, shoulders away from ears, keeping the neck as soft as possible. Roll the right inner thigh to the ceiling, perhaps hugging the feet towards each other like you're trying to wrinkle the mat in the middle. And then gently place the back knee down. Check in if you need more padding. Hold on to the front of the left shin. Start with the right hand underneath the shoulder. And then from there, walk the hand on a diagonal, anywhere from 5 to 15 inches. And you can really play around with that arm position. Sometimes I walk it just straight forward and I get into something different. It's an integration pose to help you feel for directing the energy that you're generating. Letting the torso soften, and you can take the ribs forward and down, sort of like a cobra move. You could pull the hand towards the foot. As you're ready, unwinding your lounge lunge, taking yourself either through a final vinyasa or come right back into downward facing dog. So either coming through cobra or upward facing dog. Coming back to downward facing dog with a focus on inhabiting the space between the low ribs and the top crest of the hips. And then from here, finding your way up to standing. We'll come into horse stance. So from Tadasana, step your feet wide into upward facing wide stance. Just feeling into how this particular shape wakes up strength. Pivoting the toes out to 45 degrees and bringing the torso down. And you could play with untucking the pelvis, letting the back hip point come up so that you can then find out what is even, what is the most optimal. Softening front ribs, stacking skull bones. And then from there, let's come into some wrist stretches. Like you're stopping traffic, reach out through both arms, inhale. Curling down one finger at a time, pinky, fourth, middle, index, fold the thumb over, roll the fists down. Inhale, spread hands forward, stretch the pinky finger away from the thumb. Exhale, fold thumb in, give it a squeeze, roll the pinky edge of the hand down. We'll do each of those one more time. Reach out from the center of the chest, connecting your heart to your hands. Inhale, exhale, curling down, pinky, fourth, middle, index, fold the thumb over, roll the fists down, feel the tissues in the forearms, track that as specifically as possible into the chest. Inhale, hands forward, exhale, thumb in, squeeze the thumb, roll the pinky edge of the hands down. Let the arms come down. Really make space in the hips as you straighten the legs. Use that as a transition to make space. Sweeping up, pausing your 5-pointed star here. Either looking forward or looking up, letting yourself uptake spaciousness, letting your energy shine out, feeling into your strength, radiating it out to each other. And then from there, come on through the midline. Let's do some kite hawk. Reach the arms out into warrior 2 arms. Inhale, palms up, shoulders down, looking up. Exhale, roll the arms forward, slide the shoulders up, tucking the chin. And then keep going at your own pace here. Study what happens in the ribs. So there's lots of different ways to work this pose. Keeping the ribs fairly soft and down so you really get into the shoulders here. Kicking into your feet, waking up your legs again and again to ground yourself. Sensing the way the connective tissue wraps around the bones. In fact, is the bones as well. Palms up, let the arms relax down. Pause, uptake what you're generating. Feed it to where you need it. Straighten the legs. Let's come back into 5-pointed star. Reach. Finding yourself as containing all of it, heaven and earth, you as this vertical axis. Let's come into twisting horse, rebending the knees, finding that home base press of the hands to connect into the torso. And then from there, taking the right hand to the inner thigh, close up to ASIS. Taking the left hand onto the quads, come forward and to the left. Draw the front ribs towards the back ribs. Press down and away on the inner thigh. Lengthen the ribs away from the hips. Then we'll take that to the other side. So you can take the left hand on the inner thigh, close up to the hip point. Take the hand onto the quads. I just did it with the forearm too. It actually worked really nicely. Draw the front ribs in and down. Lengthen the ribs away from the hips. From there, come back to center, straighten legs, sweep out, sweep up. And then as you're ready, press into the midline, organizing yourself as you do that gesture into the midline, toes face forward. Hold onto the hips, press down, and then sense as you lift your ribs, increasing your awareness of that space. Folding forward, hands can be on the floor or on blocks. The last pose before you head to the floor is flank stretch. Walk both hands over to the left. You could keep your hands on blocks or block. Or you could grab onto the left ankle with the right hand, opposite hand on top. Reaching the right elbow towards the ground. Feel the shoulder respond. Place your mind into your your right side, moving your right ribs to the right on exhale. Getting very specific with studying where this shows up and what information it can give you about the muscles that hug your torso and the tissues that wrap your torso. Walk your hands back through center and over to the other side. Hands on block or grab the right ankle with left hand, opposite hand on top. Reach the left elbow towards the ground. Place your mind into the left ribs and move the left ribs towards the left. And then letting that go, come back to center. And then however you like, finding your way onto your back. So maybe you come through a squat for a few breaths. Maybe you come back up to stand and lay down. See however you like that you can meet back in half shavasana. Feet underneath the knees. Perhaps feet a bit forward if it gives you more space. And then get very fascinated with that low band along the back ribs and see what has shifted from the opening of the class today in accessing, broadening across the back ribs into the side ribs. And how that might give you more access to both strength and pleasure. Breathing into your brain so you can have a more expanded and correct for you definition, working definition of strength and pleasure. Sensing how one of them needs the other. Next pose is back release pose. So you can take the right ankle on top of the left thigh. And if you like, you could rock the sacrum and let it continue to grow into a shape that massages across the low back here. And when that feels complete, you could take that on the other side. Left ankle on right thigh, rolling the sacrum, letting the shape grow organically, focusing in where you feel drawn. When that feels complete, coming back to center. Next pose is Shavasana. So either coming right into your Shavasana, setting up whatever shape would be the best finishing pose, or take any other movements that would complete your practice. And then letting go, this very advanced, important skill, wherever you are on the continuum, letting it go, letting yourself be held by your strong friend, the earth. Letting yourself widen across the horizontal axis of the floor. Letting yourself rest. Begin to soften internally and feel into owning and inhabiting your strength with the power of the breath. And sensing what is basically good and pleasant in this moment. Sensing the synergy of strength and pleasure coming together to ground you and put you in a learning mode, a healing mode. Better prepared to engage with each moment of your life. Bringing you into a warrior's heart is one of the teachings of Forrest Yoga, which allows us to show up and say, right now it's like this, and to be with what is in a direct way, having that bravery and clear seeing and kindness for ourselves and for each other. As you're ready, taking yourself onto one side. Pressing into the ground to bring yourself back up. Coming back to sensing the pelvis in space, rooting the sit bones down, pressing them down, and sensing how that helps you to find a struggle-free way of growing yourself tall. And then if you like, you can bring the hands onto the torso to sense the really good work you've done today, to be with your strength, to be with your pleasure, to be with each other. And let's seal our time with one round of Brahmari. I'm going to unmute us all so we can experiment with technology, taking a big breath in, exhaling it with buzzing. Namaste.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, everyone. Oh my gosh, this is the coolest.
Thanks, Karuna.
Thanks, Sally.
Thank you.
So good to see everyone.
Thank you, Karuna.
Thank you, Anna. Thanks, Liz.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks,
Karuna.
Thanks, Kelly.
Bye.
Bye, Nancy.
Thank you.
Bye, Ashley.
Bye.
Bye, Bartha.